Hello, 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 everyone. Greetings. Welcome to those of you who are just joining. I hope everyone enjoyed their Thanksgiving. It's been a while for me. I'm excited to be back. I don't think that I don't think I've been on here since around Thanksgiving. It's been crazy lately, you guys. But I am excited to be back. Hey, welcome everyone. I'm sorry that you all have to keep up with all of my many names. Oh, but your girl is now Hounsi La Bel Venus, no longer Monze. So, hence the name change, you guys. But I'm still Queen Leilani, so I apologize about all these name changes, you guys. I'll be getting started here shortly, but as you can see tonight, we're just going to be talking about how holding on can hurt us, and how some ways, holding on to like certain people, places, and situations can affect us on our journey. Um, if you guys, oh, thank you. If you guys missed out on Priestess Peach Blossom's church service yesterday, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. It was so good. Okay. Our messages are somewhat similar. Like she did her service over the Fool. Thank you. She did her sermon over the Fool in the tarot system, and she talked about the importance of like really letting go and trusting the process. So today we're going to talk about that in a little bit of a different way. Um, just some highlights here. So I'll give it a few more minutes to get a few more people, and then we'll get this thing rolling. I don't know about y'all, but I am so tired. Been so busy. December is such a crazy month for me, scheduling wise. So it's definitely been hard out here, you guys, for sure. It's real in these spiritual streets. Hi, Monze Lafon. Okay. You know me, I'm always distributing the link, but I'm going to go ahead and get started since we already have a few people on here. But for all of you that are here, thank you so much for tuning in. For those of you who are just joining, I am now Hounsi La Bel Venus, and tonight we're going to be talking about how holding on can hurt us and how it can like affect us on our spiritual journey. Tonight we're talking about, how holding on to thoughts, people, places, and relationships can affect us. Okay. And that can affect us negatively. Sometimes. Oh, hold on. Wait a minute, you guys. My PowerPoint is getting ahead of me. Okay. There we go. Okay. Sorry. Technical difficulties, But so first, I would like to highlight that something that we already know is that you can't change the past. So before I even start getting into this, I will just say that it benefits you more to just let go. Let go and let God, right? Because there's nothing you can do. There's nothing that you can do to change the past. Whereas the future is not yet written, right? You don't want to spend too much time dwelling on the past or things that don't serve you when you could be moving forward. If you focus too much attention on the past, then you won't be able to influence your future, right? I think there's like some kind of old school quote that talks about looking behind prevents you from seeing forward, right? So you can't really move forward and you can't have tunnel vision on your goals and things if you're constantly looking behind you, right? Um, the past holds experiences of both joy and of pain. I really like, um, that's why I put the picture of the Three of Swords right there. I really like Hounsi Soleil's description of the Three of Swords. I like how she speaks about the Three of Swords in the tarot system representing a lesson that we needed to learn, right? Or something that we needed for our maturation, right? While our heartbreak is valid, our experiences and our pain is real. It is important to remember with the Three of Swords that there was something to get from that experience. There was a lesson to learn from that experience. And if you all pay any type of attention to me whatsoever, you already know what I'm going to say. Only a fool lives and don't learn. Only a fool lives and don't learn. That's something that came from my great great grandma. And I think that it is so important for us to be able to get what we were needing to get from those particular situations. It's important for us to view everything and every experience in our life as a learning experience or a learning situation, right? In reference to the past and holding on to the past, we need to take what you can, right? Just take what you can from the situation, whether it be a good or a bad situation, and just move forward. And just move forward. I think a lot of you, especially if you've watched some of the older videos where I talk about like the different steps to healing or 5 ways to have more peace in your life, I also bring up acceptance. And acceptance is the way that I like to explain acceptance is not just laying down and like letting life happen to you, but just accepting the reality of what's going on, right? I don't know the Serenity Prayer by heart, but when I think of acceptance in terms of spirituality or acceptance in terms of moving on, I tend to personally think about the Serenity Prayer. And I hope I say this right because, like I said, I'm tired. I got my energy drink. Look, you guys, it's called, and there's no liquor in here, okay? But my energy drink is called Jingle Juice. I don't know if any of you guys have any nutrition clubs where you live at, but these drinks be fire. So, but I hope I say this right, okay? I think it goes courage to accept the things that you cannot change. You know what? I'm not even going to mess it up. I'm about to go to Google. Because when I think of it, acceptance, this is exactly what I think of, but I want to make sure that I'm saying it right. Hold on. Yes. Okay. This is exactly what I was looking for. Okay. So the serenity prayer is, it goes, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, courage to change the things that I can, and wisdom to know the difference. There we go. You know, I should know that, but hey, but yeah, that's the type of energy that I think about whenever I think of acceptance and accepting that we cannot change the past. Just much like so, whenever someone leaves your life, or even when we lose a loved one, eventually, as we go through those steps of grieving, or as we go through those steps of grief, we will eventually get to that step of acceptance. So that's the energy that I'm talking about when I talk about acceptance. That's just not, you lying down and being like, whatever. Okay. You like the red flag, huh? I added the red flag because, everybody's like, oh, red flag all over social media right now. But I like to consider the signs that you are holding on for too long a red flag. And that's because oftentimes we already know what's up. We already know about these different people, situations, and things in our lives, but we choose to hold on to it right? And those are those red flag moments. Sometimes, and I am guilty of it before in the past, sometimes we will ignore these red flags and we will make excuses, or a common thing that people tell themselves, I'm just tripping. And no, that's not the case. No, you're not tripping, right? We have our intuition for a reason. And these are just a few ways. There are so many ways, because at the end of the day, you have to listen to yourself. You have to listen to your gut and your ancestors and or and then you'll be able to discern a little bit better. But these are some ways that that you have been holding on for too long. Okay. Let's say, for example, if you are in a relationship and you've just been waiting on your partner to catch up. Not that people can't change, because we can change. I'm a different person. I'm completely different than the person that you would have seen here um, a year ago, 2 years ago. It's in our path to grow and change and evolve. But some people aren't like that. Some people aren't there yet. So one of the signs that you can be holding on too long is if you've been waiting for your partner or the person that you're with to play catch up. You've been kind of waiting for them to change. You've been waiting for them to kind of get where you are on that level. That could be an indication that you maybe been holding on to even a hope or idea just a little bit too long. Just a little bit too long, okay? Um, Sometimes this can also show up as you feeling restless in life, just kind of feeling uneasy, always ready to do something different. That can be a sign that you are staying in a place too long. Or and I think that also kind of like leads into you just being unhappy. I don't know about you guys, but I had a job that I really hated. Okay. Well, I'll say this. I'll give you some background on that for me. When I first got this job, I didn't hate it. It really wasn't that bad. I was like, oh, the pay is good. But eventually, things started to get on my nerves. It started for me, I will say, for me, it started pretty slow. And then I started, just kind of finding any and everything at this job would just like irritate me, so I was just like, okay, man, it might be time to quit. It may be time to get out of here. So I stayed, and gradually things got worse. Like, eventually I did quit, but it was one of those situations where you can kind of like feel the fiery flames of a fire incoming, right? Because I know that if I had stayed there, I would have ended up doing something I probably would have regretted, like, acting out. I probably would have always been in trouble or on disciplinary action. But that's because I was staying somewhere that I had outgrown. I was staying somewhere that I shouldn't have been anymore. Right. And the job was really starting to cause me distress. It was really starting to genuinely make me unhappy. I don't know if you guys have ever been in the situation where you like literally damn near about to cry when it's time to clock in. That's where I was. So I had to make a decision to say, you know what, this is not for me. I have outgrown this space and this time, and that is okay. You have to be okay with that. That's not it's not a negative thing that you don't want to stay somewhere anymore. It just comes to you realizing that, you know what, this is not for me anymore, and then taking that time for yourself to move forward. Now, I will say that as my experience, sometimes it takes a lot of courage to leave something like that, right? Because sometimes we do stay out of familiarity. We stay because we are comfortable. Or in some cases, some people stay with people because that's all that they've known. And I'm here to tell you that don't make those don't make those excuses for yourself. Don't stay in situations that you are uncomfortable in or unhappy in simply because it's what you know. That's where the fool in the tarot system comes back in, because we have to understand and have to be able to take risks. We have to be able to step out on faith without seeing the first step out on faith without you seeing the first step of that staircase. And that's what the fool is about. It's about the new journey. How can you ever become the magician if you're stuck in that fool energy? And as Priestess was saying, and yesterday I added to that, we all have been the fool. We've all been the fool in the tarot. A journey in life, it's about being the fool. We're all going to be the fool at some point, right? Learning is and should be an everyday process, right? So we all have to start somewhere. And that starts with you understanding and recognizing what's going on, and then following where spirit leads. Okay, it's time. I know I'm just a messenger, you guys, but it's sometimes we just got to stop lying to ourselves. If something ain't working, it ain't working, and it may just be time to try something different. But you will never know what different feels like if you never try it. For me, like I said, leaving that job. Okay, so let me say this. So when I did leave, and this is how, I can speak from personal experience because I know how it can be, but that's a security blanket, right? That's your source of income. You know what I'm saying? That's something that I was used to. So it wasn't something that was easy when I did it, but it was a necessary. And then once I left, I felt a burden, like a burden was lifted off of my shoulder. I was then able to be more myself. I was able to walk more so in my power. And I had more time to do the things that I actually love and the things that I genuinely enjoy. But the first step was me leaving. So that's just something. Now, I'm not on here telling y'all to just like quit your job, but that was my experience as far as like staying somewhere too long. Okay. Also, thank you all for all of the pink flowers, by the way. I really appreciate you all dropping the love and support in the chat. I will also say to those of you who are, yes, make sure that you like the video on the way in. Thank you for that. But another way that you can, another sign that you're holding on for too long is by playing small. If you find yourself having to shrink yourself to make other people comfortable, or play down or dumb down your intelligence to make other people comfortable, or let's say, for example, if you're like walking on eggshells, not wanting to offend anyone, that could be a sign that you're staying in that space for too long. Okay. One thing that my godmother says, and I feel like these are words to live by, Hunty, because I have adopted them for myself. If helping you hurts me, then I can no longer help you. And I really feel like that plays into us having to move around sometimes. If helping you hurts me, then I can no longer help you. And that's a sign that it's also time to move around. Like I always say in my lives, on this is like, I know that these things can be easier said than done, especially when, like I said, this is something that is familiar to you. These are people that are familiar to you, and these are people that you love. Hey, you got to do what you got to do. Okay. Okay. So, of course, you know me, I had to bring the Bible in here and drop some word on here today. But this is like a really powerful passage of the Bible that I used to pray and meditate on myself to get through some of the things that I have experienced in my spiritual journey and in my life. And so I'm going to read this with you. And this talks about seasons, okay? To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the sun. Okay. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to pluck up, which has been planted. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to break down and a time to build up. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to get and a time to lose. A time to keep and a time to cast away. A time to rend and a time to sow. A time to keep silence and a time to speak. A time to love and a time to hate. A time of war and a time of peace. Okay. So I know that for some, that may sound a little bit redundant, but to me, these words carry weight. We know that there's a time to be born and we know that there's a time to die. The Bible also says to everything under the sun, there is a time and a place. There is a time and a place for all of that. Just as we watch the seasons turn as we grow old, right? This scripture reminds me that sometimes people or situations can serve as a vehicle for you to get to the next destination. Back in the Christian church, they say that they refer to time periods in our life as seasons, right? And so some people, and I hate to sound like a broken record, but some people are literally only meant to be there for a season, and that's okay. We have to get comfortable with understanding that sometimes we outgrow people. Sometimes people outgrow us. We may have outgrown a specific relationship, and that's okay. That's a part of life. Sometimes somebody comes into your life to get you from point A to point B, or maybe even to teach you a lesson. Sometimes where we go awry at, or where things kind of go left at, is if we just hold on, right? They come into our life and we just snatch them up, and we're literally just like holding on when they were meant to go. A good something that just came into my head that I will say, have you guys ever been friends with somebody and you guys were friends for a while, and then after a while, for some reason, the energy just shifts and you guys don't have much to talk about anymore? Conversation is dry now. That's because the relationship is changing. Sometimes that could be an indication that, that person, you just don't have anything to talk about anymore. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's no bad blood or stuff, but sometimes people just change. People are just different. Exactly. I feel like a lot of people would be able to relate to that. You just don't have anything to talk about anymore. No need for it to be awkward or hard feelings or anything. It's just how things go. So remember that in terms of us thinking about like how holding on can truly impact us, right? Remember that everything has a season. Okay. I have a family member, sometimes we do. Sometimes, like, I have a family member, it's like when you ask him how he, no, what does he say? It's like, or, okay, it's actually my husband's family member, but, growth is necessary. But it's actually my husband's friend. So my husband will say, "What's up?" And then he'll say, "Sometimes me, sometimes you." And I was like, "Oh, that's kind of corny, but that's real. Sometimes you, sometimes me. Sometimes I'm gonna be up, and sometimes you're gonna be up." And that's the cycle of life, right? There's this very popular meme on social media where there's like this cute little caterpillar, and then somebody, you come back later and the caterpillar is now a butterfly, and somebody was like, "You've changed," and then the caterpillar is like, "We're supposed to." I know that sounds insignificant, but I really thought that was beautiful, right? Because that's how it goes. That is the story of life. We are supposed to transform. We are supposed to evolve. And next year, I guarantee you, if you guys are here in this audience with me, I'm going to look different than I am this year. I'm going to be different than I am this year. And I challenge you all to do the same, because I know that you all are going to be different at this time next year as well, right? So don't get down on yourself. Don't be too hard on yourself. If somebody wants to leave your life and they don't want to be there, let them leave. Divine timing. So that's what I would have to say about that. Okay. So I feel like we've already kind of covered this to a certain extent. Like, I see you all like leaving messages about this in the comments. And so sometimes when we hold on to things, what I will say is that sometimes your growth can be stunted. You're supposed to be growing and flourishing, but you're too afraid to leave a certain. Imagine if I never left that job. Imagine if I never left that job, where I would be at right now. It certainly wouldn't be here, because for numerous reasons, right? It took up a lot of time and space and energy in my life when I needed to be distributing that energy into other areas, into other spaces. So sometimes we can stunt our growth by just staying there. And as my godfather Hugon's always say, it can cause you to miss out on divine timing as well. Whenever I, yeah, and that can happen. As I always say, hello, thank you for joining, Cassie. Or is it Casey? I apologize. But as I always say, is that people with no concept of healthy boundaries get mad at you for setting them. So sometimes when you set those boundaries for yourself and, figure out what you're going to put up with, that can cause people to treat you that way. And you know what? That's okay. I'm literally here. I'm taking it back, but I'm hearing "Checking Up the Deuces" by Chris Brown, or "Deuces" by Chris Brown. Because sometimes that's what you that's what you have to do. You just have to be like, okay, you don't want to get into that energy of begging people to stay in your life. Just because sometimes it's their time to go. And when it's our time to go and leave this earth, we will too. And there's nothing nobody can do about that. So let them go, you guys. Let them go. Okay. Also, holding on and how that can impact us can keep you making the same mistakes over and over again. If there's anybody out there that can attest to this or has gone through this experience, but for example, if you're with somebody toxic, or with somebody, like, let's say, for example, that is cheating on you, right? And you're just staying and you're just staying, and you stay because maybe you love them, or they give you a certain something that you're needing, but you stay, and it keeps happening over and over and over and over and over again. That is a prime example of how your growth can be stunted. You could stay with this person and be with them and miss out on the love of your life because you're over here playing with Boo Boo the fool. You don't want that to be you. And like I said, I am human. I know that it is easier said than done. Even Ayanna Van Zant talks about how hard it is to break a habit. And actually, one of the ways that she helps people heal, and why she's so successful at it, is because she teaches people that one way to break a habit, is a bad habit, is to replace it with a healthy one or a good one. She teaches sometimes that, like, let's say, for example, and this is a side note, you guys, I'll be getting off task. But she teaches us that sometimes, like, let's say, for example, when you're getting angry, or that you're about to step out of character, pray. Because you stepping out of character is the bad or the negative habit, but you're replacing it with prayer, right? So, side note, but yeah. Sometimes staying in these positions can help us, can contribute to us repeating the same mistakes over and over and over again. And that's something that we don't want to do. We want to live, we want to learn, and we want to become that beautiful butterfly that I mentioned earlier. Okay. So aside from all of these, impacts that this can have on our life, they can cause physical dis-ease by us holding on to, just really, 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 really holding on to things that do not serve us. So I did list stress, anxiety, and worry. But one thing that I will say is, like, have you ever been so mad and so frustrated or even just stressed out? I'm going to say all day. I'm going to say all day, or just stressed out over school or something because you might have procrastinated or something, and then you get a headache. That is a prime example of how things start here in your mind and in your emotional and your mental states, but can manifest here. And that's what we don't want to happen by holding on to so much stuff. Let me read what Negaja said. Yes. Oh my God. I used to love the Medea plays. Oh my God. You took it way back, but that is so right. Yes. You know, say what people, I don't care what people say about Tyler Perry. He used to come through with some words in those plays. Okay. Like he did. He used to preach. Okay. Tyler Perry is an example. I'm gonna get back on task, you guys. But Tyler Perry is an example through his work that is somehow that man is led by God. Like the way that he channels those messages and puts it into his work. Tyler Perry is a man that is led by God. Sometimes when, we all have our faults and stuff, but he used to really come through with a word in those plays, and I know exactly what you're talking about. So yes, you are absolutely right. I also have here that holding on to these things can literally hurt you, and it manifests in the body in different ways. These are some of my favorite books that kind of give you more of a scholarly breakdown of how trauma and how holding on to things can like physically manifest in your body. This book right here, I don't know if you guys can see it, but this book right here, The Body Keeps Score. This one is very detailed. This one was written by a doctor, and it talks about the ways that trauma can manifest in our bodies. Okay. Any of these extremely detailed. Look, I have another book with me. I didn't think, but if you know me, I got books around me all the time, y'all. But another book that is really good. I don't have this one with me. It's like over on my bookshelf. But The Complete Guide to Chakras, if you have any extensive guides on chakra alignment, they usually almost always talk about how being out of alignment can affect your physical body. And I think we see that sometimes when we get anxious or fearful and stuff, that could be indicative that we have a root chakra blockage. But I'm going to show you this other one. This is another book that I don't have this one listed, but I mean, it's really big. But this is, is big. This one is The Complete Book of Chakras, the Llewellyn's Complete Book of Chakras. And this one, oh my God, you guys, it's extensive. It talks about the chakras in every single culture around the world, the different names for them, the historical significances of the chakra system. Oh, and I'm happy that I turned to this page because this is actually something that I was going to bring up right here. Yes, it's almost like a chakra and anatomy book. So if you're really into wanting to explore that more and heal, which I'm going to throw a plug. Okay. I'm going to plug my chakra mentorship. I have a chakra mentorship program that is it's a paid program, and it's getting ready to start December the 13th. I'm doing it in conjunction with my godmother, Priestess Peach Blossom. So if you are wanting to, first of all, do shadow work and target what is going on with you and kind of tiptoe and understand why you are the way that you are so that you can choose to act differently, join that mentorship. And then we're also going to be working on our actual chakras too, so that we could come into alignment and prevent some of these things that I'm talking to you guys about tonight. So here's another look at it right here. They're talking on this one, they're talking about your aura field and like the different colors and with your chakras and stuff. So I would definitely recommend this book. Get it. But if you're interested in finding out more about like how these things can like manifest in your body, these resources that I just showed you are good. Um, One example of, and my godmother, she loves to talk about this, but it's how Black women suffer from heart disease. She brings that up all the time because, we tend to hold on to a lot of things because we feel like we have to be so strong, that we don't release stuff, and it literally hurts you. It can physically manifest. I do know family members who have damn near lost their mind holding on to stuff when you should just be letting it go. You don't want to be one of those people that is so consumed with bitterness that you got high blood pressure. You know what I'm saying? That you have stomach ulcers can be caused by stress. You don't want that to be you. You want to be healthy and prosperous. So that starts, I'm not saying that, this is the end all be all, but that starts with us taking care of ourselves. That starts with us admitting that something is off and being conscious about letting those things go. Okay. So any of these resources, I know personally, one of the reasons why you guys always see me drinking on my live is because, I, like, in August of this year, I had part of my thyroid removed. And I will tell you, to this day, as someone who has been through that, I had my thyroid, it overgrew because I wouldn't speak. It was a throat chakra blockage. And there are many people who deal with thyroid problems because their throat chakra was blocked. Now, thankfully for me, I got my stuff together, right? And I ended up being able to keep half of my thyroid. But many people lose their entire thyroid because of some type of throat chakra imbalance. It can impact you. Not speaking your truth or speaking up for yourself and holding on to that can manifest in your body. Absolutely. So you don't want to carry that type of baggage around, okay? Something that I learned from the amazing Dr. Truesdale, Dr. T, shout out, I love you. But she talks about self-shrinking and how that can cause joint pain. Whenever you play yourself small, those types of things can manifest in your body. It can literally make your joints hurt because you're shrinking yourself. So, like I said, you guys, you don't want to be in that position. You don't want to be one of those people that have to deal with these types of things. Let it go. Let it go. And if you practice and you have your altar set up, leave it at the altar. Leave it at the altar, you guys. Don't be bag lady. Don't be bag lady and hurt yourself, okay? You see right here, my advice, let that shit go. Let it go. And like I said, it's easier said than done, but let it go. Let go and let God or let the ancestors help you. Don't carry that around with you. Okay? So, like I said, if you are in the business of starting to, and so in my chakra mentorship, it's advanced chakra mentorship, and it is a good starting point for you. The information that I gave you today does not exclude traditional therapy. So if you do, if you need help, if you need to talk professionally, please do that. I'm definitely not telling anyone not to go to therapy, because therapy in conjunction with this, faith without work is dead. So if you need to go. But these, let it go. Right. Y'all don't want to hear me sing. Fun fact about me, due to my mysterious throat chakra blockage, I have lost my ability to sing. I used to be a really good singer. So that was so I'm speaking from experience. That is a moment of transparency for me, is that because I didn't use that voice, I lost it. You don't want that to be you guys, okay? So you were talking to somebody who has been there, done that, and has been someone who has submitted to the process and done the work. So I encourage all of you who are on here today to definitely do the work. Don't carry these things around. Talk about it. Do the shadow work. yeah, and if you need anything from me, of course, you can always reach out at the Voodoo Institute. And I have I have shadow work consultations. Now we have our wonderful advanced shadow work mentorship that you guys can join. Also, I'm going to drop my link tree here into these comments as well so that you all can connect with me. Any other needs, like I have the link to my business on there. Sell metaphysical items, personal care items. You know, you can buy crystals, sage, all that wonderful stuff from me. Also, as well as connect with me on any other social media platforms as well, you guys, okay? And as always, if any of this information resonated with you tonight, feel free to leave a love offering in the Cash App. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and sign off of here for tonight. As always, I thank you all so much for coming. And hopefully this information resonated with you guys, okay? So good night. I will see y'all later for Hoodoo Bible Study.